fiber optics, which is light. Okay, so that's where LTE, right? How fast it can move data using basically the speed of light, right? Through the fiber optic. And then, so those are your 4G up there, and then you've got a little microwave dish that's pointing to another site somewhere. Now we get into the technology's changed. Look at on that antenna, or on that monopole at the very bottom, the small antennas. Those are your 5G. Look how much smaller they are.
Yeah, I'm noticing that.
No, actually 5G doesn't travel as far either. So we actually need to install more antennas and also antenna repeaters, so that once the whole system is connected, they still got a little bit to go to connect it all, but it's up and getting installed.
Can our phones and Wi-Fi's be adapted to that technology so that our phones are actually acting as bridges?
Oh, yeah. That I don't know if the new 5G are quite that advanced yet, and are they?
They're heading that way.
They're heading that way, yeah. So what it'll be little repeater antennas, 5G, to kind of move the signal along, because it doesn't
like what
travel
we see.
far.
Sorry, like what we see on the lamp posts.
Yeah. Those little antennas could be 5G repeater antennas. And they're talking to each other, the antennas, and it's bouncing and it's moving.
Just could you give me just a little bit of your credentials here so that people know that who I'm talking with today?
So I was in the telecom industry for 12 years as a tower rigger. So basically, I built the sites, I installed the antennas from basically this box up to there is what my job was to install. The computer guys and the IT guys worked in the boxes or in the cabinets installing all the computer boards and stuff like that. So I'm not a IT telecom guy. I'll know all the equipment. I installed the equipment.
Are you the guy that had to climb the tower?
Yeah, I was.
So you had that one of those little radiation things that tell you you're going to die in 3 minutes if you don't get out of there?
Yeah, and then they're really annoying, so we would just turn those right off. So the power perception of WCB, I'm just being honest, WCB came by and they could see that at least we had our monitor.
Yeah.
They would just think, yeah, it's on, but you know what? When you're working around this all day and it's beeping and it's beeping and it's beeping, we cut corners. I think I made one set of batteries last a whole year because I just never turned it on, right? But we had to make it look like we were protecting ourselves. And let's be honest, in the telecom industry is safety first right after production. So basically, get the stuff built. We don't care how safe it is. Just do it quick and fast, and then we worry about safety after you do that. So
let me ask, what has your attitude always been? And
Nope.
Like, what was how did the change?
Yeah, so I was just a guy just trying to pay my bills, and I was, we did take a lot of training on like safety, and we did take training on exposure levels and stuff, but that was just. Did I really, to be honest, pay attention? Did I really think I was going to get harmed? No, I had a family member that's in the industry 40 years and did the same type of work and didn't see any really health effects. So I was just going through the loops, trying to put food on the table. I didn't think it was really causing health effects, and let's be honest, I was a little bit more ignorant, and I just wanted to make some good money.
So what changed?
I think what changed is I've been watching, when it comes to 5G and track and trace, it means also the social credit score, stuff like that we see in China and in Asian countries, and that does scare me. I'm a free Canadian who wants to move freely without the government knowing where I went to, what I bought, this. I think that's my right to not have the government be Big Brother, right?
So I'm hearing the application and use of the technology is as concerning as the passive.
But obviously the health is going to when I learned
it's a two-pronged.
I was when we installed 4G, I don't think it's got initial quick health issues. It's more of a long term.
It's cumulative.
When I saw and started learning about 5G and the capabilities and how it works, right? With 4G, the radio waves are more of a a long wave.
Yeah.
But with 5G, so it's strong, but it's not that strong, like the frequency. But with 5G, they're quick little, they're very, very small little
on a larger wave.
Yeah, like
the wave's shorter.
It's a shorter wave.
The shorter wave.
Okay.
And that shorter wave can penetrate into our DNA cells a lot easier than a long frequency.
Right.
Big humps, kind of like a camel, big humps. 4G,
but they're all
5G's
dangerous.
Yeah, and it's all dangerous. But
4G is dangerous over cumulative.
Yeah.
But 5G is going to reduce the impact. It's going to take it from like 20, 30 years, and we're estimating down to 15, maybe even less, depending on the person. Yeah. If you factor in vaccines and nanoparticles and weakened immune systems, you know, they turn it up to 60 gigahertz plus, people are going to be ill, seriously ill, and die.
Get a new study that's not done by the telecommunication company. That's like saying the Boeing airplanes, as we all know, when they did their own safety studies on
it's a
their
conflict of interest, just like the 9/11.
So we've got the telecom company doing their own safety studies with very old studies that we're still using, and there are other studies out there. The government of Canada is completely.
They actually ignored 140 studies in 2015. But there's over 10,000 RF scientific reports warning of dangers from radio frequency.
So, okay, let me just talk layman for a second. When I saw the coronavirus stuff coming out as a conspiracy theorist, I went online, I started studying stuff, I saw the 5G connection, and I started posting about it. And right at that time, the fact checkers came in, things were shut down on 5G, plenty of things were debunked. Now, if I type in 5G conspiracy, which was a great way to find alternative information in the past, all I get now is lists and lists of debunkers.
Yeah.
So,
because that's how, obviously we know that's how the algorithm of Google and stuff works, right?
So where can the people who might be watching this video go to get some unbiased, factual information that they can look at?
We got tons on our blog. We compiled it on nationalcitizensalliance.ca on our blog. We have over.
Say it one more time.
nationalcitizensalliance.ca. We have a blog. You can see it in our main menu. There's a 5G AI section. We also have a 5G AI group. But Facebook is part of the cabal. We're under shadow ban now for 2 months. But the beauty of what we have now, Jesse, is we have a database of over 100 videos of towers throughout Canada.
Yeah, so, there's a lot of information out there on 5G. I'm just, to be honestly, probably in the last year, just recently awakened. I was like, up even last year around this time, I was one of the zombies walking around when the government loves me, they're going to protect me. They have our best interest. For me, March that was the big. In early January, I started seeing things going on. And I never ever thought I was a conspiracy theorist, but something just was not right. Something was not right.
So let's talk about the frequencies that we're seeing on these machines today. You said that they were pulsing. Now, what's the difference between a pulsing signal regarding our health and a steady one?
Apparently, according to independent science, and I guess I'll talk into this so people can see us. But according to independent science, there's a correlation between pulsations and adverse health effects. When you're dealing with radio frequency, there's no pulsations. When you get into the cellular EMF radiation, it's strong pulsations. And what we saw today was vicious, extreme pulsations in excess of 31 volts per meter. But just think about it logically, intuitive. If you have pulsations and they're rapidly, viciously changing, you can intuitively say that, that's probably going to be harmful.
Well, we have electromagnetic frequencies in our body. We're an electrochemical machine, in short. And so I understand that it could debilitate communication between cells. That now
I'll tell you one thing. We've gone through all the independent science, and there's still more emerging. At 4.76 volts per meter, there's DNA breaks in cells. Okay? At 6 volts per meter, and this is according to the Bioinitiative Report 2012, at 6 volts per meter, there's DNA damage in leukemia cells. And most importantly now, because we were over 31 volts per meter today, at 28.5 volts per meter, free radicals are released. Those things are deadly. And those are only 3 examples.
Right. And that's something that we just found immediately coming onto the campus, seeing these towers, going to that field. We pulled out the meters and they were off the charts.
Well, yeah, we had to get away from that one because it's quite high up. So the trajectory, as Jesse knows, it's a directional antennas. We don't know what angle they're at, Jesse.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're at 30, 60, 90 degrees, right?
Yeah.
But we get over to that playing field over there where those, you know, there could be another group of soccer players, right? They're going to get whacked for an hour. And you times that over a year. Let's say they're playing soccer 3 times a week for an hour.
Yeah.
And they're playing 8 months of it, right?
Yeah.
Do the math.
It's kind of like the frog.
Do the
in
math.
Boiling
Yeah,
water.
the frog in
See,
boiling water.
It's
Yeah.
not like it's an instant, oh, I'm going out to the field and I get there and I'm feeling it. It's just, it's all
Cumulative.
this accumulative long-term exposure, a little
Yeah.
bit at a time. But these networks are going to be so powerful, so fast, and there's going to be so many antennas and repeaters.
But understand, with 5G, the frog in the boiling water analogy, that water is getting turned up hotter.
Yeah.
So it's going to boil quicker.
Yeah.
So we don't know. We're estimating it may be 20, 30 years before you get leukemia, or you may get breast cancer, brain cancer.
Like it's best.
It may
It's
it
gonna
may
be
actually.
the Johnson and Johnson
But we're
thing
thinking
where the
now-
talcum powder was
Right.
giving cancer.
Yeah.
But they didn't find out
But
30 years later.
But we're thinking now, depending how high the frequency is, if it's at 60 gigahertz, you're going to get oxidative stress right away,
So
depending on your immune
Yeah.
system.
So are these frequencies that you're picking up on the field today, are they allowed to be that high?
Yes, they
They're
are.
allowed to be that high.
The system is completely rigged.
even
So
though,
we're not finding any illegal activity.
No,
out there.
not at all. The whole system's rigged.
Completely
So
illegal.
even though we
It's
know
rigged.
the DNA cells at 4.76
4.76 volts per
4.76.
meter.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we know that's a breakdown in the DNA cell, but this
That's
is what
ionizing
happens when you
radiation,
have
by the way.
Telecom
Yeah.
companies doing their own studies, and then they inputted it to Canada and said that our research found that if it's 27 volts per meter or less, there's no health effects. But other studies, independent studies, say it's 4.76. So our government is saying that 27 volts meter or less is completely safe for you.
Right.
But independent studies are saying no, it's 4.7. So we're using an old research that's way outdated, that was done by the own telecom company, and they're in bed with the Canadian government,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
Yeah, so this goes right down the rabbit hole. So we might as well talk about it, but then we're going to have to move to
Let's,
the next tower.
yeah.
No, but I want to clarify this point to you. That this runs deep all the way to the UN and WHO. It's the International Commission on Non-Ionizing Radiation Protection. We've done our research on them, and there was a independent report on them, on their ties to the telecommunication industry. Unbelievably,
Conflict of interest.
the head of INERC wrote Safety Code 6 for Canada, had influence on that in 1978. Safety Code 6 is the regulations for RF radiation, EMF radiation in Canada. It hasn't been updated since by the cabal establishment parties. That's what's going on. The whole system, Health Canada is complicit in this. The whole system in Canada is rigged. Therefore, going to court right now is not going to do anything. This is political corruption at its root. And that corruption, everyone, and that's why we formed NCA. Those corrupt sellout politicians, those corrupt bureaucrats who are selling us out our health and well-being, they have to be rooted out. If you don't, it's like you're gardening. You got to take it out by the root. And those are the root corruption in Canada, without question.
Yeah.
But this is international. This is like COVID. It goes to the WHO. Who's in on it? The UN's on it, right?
We're talking about corruption.
It's international. This is international. The Great Reset is global, international. What's going on? What we're talking about here is happening
Everywhere.
almost everywhere in the world.
Stephen, all right.
Yeah,
We're
thank
going
you.
to move on to another title. Thank you for your time.
Okay, yeah, thank you, sir.
All right.